And of course, this very famous interview with John Lennon was conducted by Dick Cavett. Obviously, you're not going to have a spot on television programming of any significance unless you're a Freemason. And here you see Dick Cavett doing the Masonic diamond sign. Of course, diamond being 33 numerology. And interestingly enough, Dick Cavett just so happens to be 33 numerology. Getting back to the main point of this interview. Again, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds is the topic with this segment. And of course, as we all know or should know, John Lennon, along with all the rest of the Beatles, are nothing more than a Tavistock production. They didn't write their music. They didn't put their look together. Everything that you see with the Beatles, all their album covers were created for them, along, of course, with the lyrics. Now, let's take a listen to what John Lennon says here. Obviously, lying, not telling the truth. And this is what these people are trained to do. Take a listen.
This is the truth. My son came home with a drawing and showed me this strange-looking woman flying around. I said, what is it? He said, it's Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. I thought, that's beautiful. I immediately wrote a song about it.
Obviously, he didn't write the song. And this is all about, of course, Lucifer, as far as Lucy's concerned, with Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And if you believe a 3-year-old child drew this depiction of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, you need to have your head checked. Obviously, John Lennon, again, is lying. And this is what they do. They're trained to lie to the public, keeping society completely dumbed down. And again, obviously, like I said, you're not going to make it big unless you sell out and you're part of that exclusive club that are positioned on television programming. And anybody that thinks John Lennon is a hero, you definitely need to get your head checked. And besides the Beatles, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds has been covered by many so-called artists in the music industry. And back on topic with Polaris' Lucifer, take a look at this one album cover by Megadeth from 1990 and the lyrics themselves. The song called Polaris from the album Rust in Peace, with lyrics stating, "Tremble, you weaklings, cower in fear, I am your ruler, land, sea, and air." And getting a little bit of a close-up of the album itself, and you see this one individual as the light bearer himself. Now, moving along, I played this clip from the movie Blade Runner 2049 in previous videos, but I want to really break this down as far as this movie. Again, they put truth in movies, lies in the news, and definitely I find this pretty interesting in this 20-second clip. Before playing it, I really want to emphasize, as I showed earlier in the video presentation at Lucifer's Polaris, is the concept of the bell, meaning Lord or Master. Now let's take a listen to this clip. And again, in 20 seconds, a lot of clues in plain sight.
Human action resounds in the heavens. The bell echoes above.
You just heard the bell echoes above. Huge clue. And again, as we move forward, the firmament is mentioned.
What we decide here today will polish or crack the firmament. What shall it be?
And obviously, those in Hollywood, these Freemasons that are under the helm of the people controlling Hollywood itself, are putting these clues in plain sight. Nothing is hidden in this world. When again, the bell is mentioned in the firmament. And basically, like I stated, there is the Most High in heaven, and below the firmament is what you see here. From the Bible verse Ephesians 2:2, wherein in time past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air. So the prince of the power of the air is just below heaven, just below the firmament. And again, the Most High. That's why they call him the Most High. Because there's obviously also something high, and that's the prince of power of the air. And that gets into the company, Polaris itself. Of course, a very well-known company, just like all these big companies throughout the world that get worldwide distribution. They are Masonically owned, just like you see here with the buy it into an Apple with Apple Computer, and you see the price right here. Disney, and the storefront with the 666 right in plain sight. And of course, Club 33 when it comes to Disney. And getting back to Polaris itself, again, truth in plain sight with the interview with the CEO of Polaris itself. And what does it say here? The power of Polaris. And just a little bit of a close-up. Power of Polaris and closing bell. You have the bell and Polaris integrated. I found that extremely interesting. And here you see Polaris on Wall Street ringing the bell. Taking a little bit of a close-up. And it states here, Polaris Industries chairman and CEO of at the time, this is about 8 or 9 years ago, Scott Wine, rings the New York Stock Exchange closing bell. It's all symbolic and things they do in plain sight that society has no idea what has taken place whatsoever. Now, getting back to Polaris itself, the company, I found this interesting with the creators, the ones that came up with the company itself, the founders. You have the surname with Edgar and Alan Hetton and David Johnson. And interesting enough, Hetton or Heaton is 33 in numerology, and you have Johnson being 33, and this is your dual 33s when it comes to Freemasonry in plain sight. And as I showed all these Masonic-owned companies, Polaris, Apple, Disney, you also have Bell helmets. And just take a look here. Bell helmets, you have Bell, and you have obviously Polaris in plain sight with the company. And again, here is Bell helmets. Extremely interesting where you have the concept of, quote, the Lord and Polaris as the North Star or obviously Lucifer. And you have here more of the same with Polaris on the Bell Helmet Company. So this is not by chance or coincidence. And the headquarters for Bell itself, Bell Helmets, is in Bell, California on the 33rd parallel. Just an amazing coincidence for all the coincidence theorists. Also, I found this interesting as well when it comes to Meade, this telescope making company, and they have the Polaris telescope. Now, getting back to the Bible verse, Ephesians 2:2, where it mentions the Prince of Power of the Air. And again, the Bell for Lord or Master. And that gets into Ronald Reagan, former U.S. President, and also Governor of California, doing the 666 hand sign and the obvious devil horn sign. He lived in Bel Air. Again, Bel, of course, being Lord, and of course, of the air itself, like the Prince of Power of the Air. Interesting enough, his home recently went on the market for $33 million. Obviously in Bel Air. And this obvious location was not picked by chance or random, supposedly a gift given to the Reagan family. And just take a look at the address. 666, and you don't see it here, but it's North Cloud Road. And obviously the cloud as in the sky and to the north. And that brings us to the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Obviously a reference to the Prince of Power of the Air. And I found this interesting. Again, how they put everything in plain sight, hidden in plain sight. Let's take a look at the actual intro for the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Of course, holding the glasses in the 666 sign with the hands itself. And let's play this slowly, little by little, and how they like to turn things upside down, as they're doing in the intro, with Will Smith upside down. And as we move forward, still holding the glasses, And just take a look at what is shown as I move this forward, and all the symbolism in plain sight. And you're going to see it right here with the 666 on this face. I mean, whose eyes look like this? They're obviously, these are 2 6s upside down in the ear shaped as a 6. And there's obviously more symbolism, as you see hope, big concept when it comes to Freemasonry, the $sign, and much more. But let's move forward just a little bit more, and what do we see? And right here, again, your 666 on the very bottom here. So this coincides, obviously, with Ronald Reagan, as I showed earlier. And again, the address in Bel Air, the 666 address. And as I just shown, with the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, as he's going upside down, not only once with this caricature of this person in the 666, but also as you go down a little bit more, and here you go again. And that gets into what you see here as the intro moves forward, and you see the female. And let's move this up just a little bit, get a clearer image, and you'll see the 6 and the 9. You'll see the lightning bolt. There's the star or the pentagram symbolism. You see the chaos. There's a lot going on here with symbolism. But again, the 6 and the 9, as you see in this Masonic Lodge, you see Polaris hanging from the ceiling, and you see the 6 and the 9 in plain sight for all to see. And just a little bit more here, as here's actually a close-up of everything I showed. And again, there's a little bit more. You see the baby, and you flip the double E's around, and you get 33 as well. So again, they put everything in plain sight, even with the eye, the all-seeing eye, Polaris Lucifer with the feet itself. Again, there's a lot going on here. And one thing I should mention, just like I showed earlier in this presentation, was Saved by the Bell. And you have the coils, and what this is actually the serpent's coil. Again, all in plain sight, and you see the same thing here with, again, the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. So obviously, they're all on the same page, showing the same signs and symbols in plain sight. It just needs to be decoded properly to understand. Just like you see here with Will Smith, more of the same with the serpent's coil. There's a lot going on here. People can take a look and break down this image even further, but I'm sticking to the things that really stand out. And one thing I saw was this, with the cross and the XO and so much more. But I want to focus on the XO. And again, signs and symbols in plain sight when it comes to this Grand Sovereign Commander, which I've showed many times. And just take a look right behind him to his right and to our left, the XO, XO, XO. And here's a better look. Again, everything's in plain sight. When you understand symbolism, it's not going to slip past you. And when it comes down to it, the XO in Pythagorean numerology, just like Fox, the 666, the X and the O, they equal 6 each. So basically, this is 66, just like I showed many times with the Grand Sovereign Commander in the Dual 33s, a little bit of a close-up. You have your 66, and basically when it comes down to it, 33 equals 66. So that's what you have here, all in plain sight. When it comes down to as well, which I showed many times as well, from this Masonic encyclopedia, where it states here, the confusion of tongues gave rise to the ancient practice of Masons conversing without the use of speech. And that gets back to, again, the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Of course, Bel Air, the Lord of the Air. Take a look here at the concept of where basically Will Smith ended up in Bel Air. But where did he start? For those that know anything about the series, he started in Philadelphia. And of course, it has to do with the bell, the Liberty Bell, and has the crack in it. People wonder what this is about. And to me, it stems back to the broken pentagram in Washington, D.C., as you see here. So this represents to me, in my research, how Lucifer was thrown to earth, and he's fallen, he's broken. And that's the reason for the broken pentagram, just like the crack in the bell or their Lord. And to conclude this presentation, I've showed this image many times with the Alan Parsons Project, showing their Lord in the background. It reminds me of the intro to the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan, Air Jordan, again, the Prince of Power of the Air. And obviously they play the song, again, from the Alan Parsons Project, The Eye in the Sky, when Air Jordan is introduced along with the rest of the Chicago Bulls. And of course, all these people, these big names in Hollywood, the music industry, in sports, are all part of the rig system. And definitely the lyrics of these songs are given to these so-called artists in this world of duality to purposely put the truth in plain sight.